Hello, this is Mike Siver on the Mike Siver Show with Ernest Spencer, my guest, my revolving guest. He's always my guest. Anyway, welcome, Ernest. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Last week we talked about the sponge, and I gave that demonstration that you missed about with the buckets and the sponge.
Right.
And we evolved into, from the sponge, young kids watching stuff growing up, into we teach people how to treat us. So tonight we're going to start again on how we teach people how to treat us. And in doing that, I'm going to read just a little bit out of the book. And these books that I've written are for groups for discussion. They can either be through families or groups or Boy Scouts, or it's all behavior stuff for people to look at their behaviors and maybe question what they're doing. So I'm going to start a little bit. This is chapter 7 out of the book. And it says, in our relationships, we are responsible for the way we treat others and for the way we allow others to treat us. It is easy to follow the golden rule and to treat others as we would be treated. And that works as long as everyone's following the same rule, which doesn't happen very often. The problem occurs when others don't do the same and we allow them to mistreat us. Now, this can come from children. And what I talk about in here too is when parents are raising children, the children can only be disciplined by the parents. And a lot of parents want to be their friend. Mm-hmm. I want my child to like me. I want my child, when a child grows up, to like me and love me. So I can't discipline them because people who discipline other people usually aren't liked. Mm-hmm. So I want to be my child's friend. Well, I can tell you, and if you've tried it, being a parent and a disciplinarian and a friend does not work at all. And with all due respect, the minute you try to be a friend to your child, I'm not talking about adults becoming friends with adult children. That's a whole different ballgame.
I understand what you're saying.
But children need an adult role model. They don't need a friend. Their little friends they're going to find little friends, come and go, come and go, come and go. But to be an adult role model as a parent, you need to be an adult and be the parent. Because if you try to be their friend, friends let friends get away with stuff. Mm-hmm. They all do.
Yes, they do.
And if you start to let your child get away with things because you don't want to discipline them or be the bad guy or hear that, Mommy, I hate you, or Daddy, I hate you, I wish you were dead, which you may hear. If you're going to become a disciplinarian, you may hear that. And that hurts. But you have to take it with a grain of salt. Because they say that in a moment of emotional distress. They might be mad at you, you spanked them, or sent them to the room without their supper, or turn off the television. Whatever you did to them is major. To you it's a joke, but to them it's major. Mm-hmm. You try to teach them something. That's what a parent does. And every parent has their way and their rules that they have to abide by. There's not a set standard for anybody. There could be for respect and no cussing and that kind of stuff in most homes.
Right.
But some parents let their children stay up a half an hour later than other parents do. That's no crime. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're consistent. If you're consistent with that, if the 7 o'clock is their bedtime, or 8 o'clock depending on their age, or 9 o'clock depending on their age, because things need to be age appropriate as well. Right. Parenting is not easy. And anybody who says it has never been one or hasn't been one for very long, one of the two. So when you start to teach your children that the rules are flexible, that tonight you can get away with it, tomorrow night you can't, and tonight you can't do this, but tomorrow night you can, mm-hmm. You're teaching them that what you say has no meaning.
I agree.
Has no value. And I know you got stuff you want to say about this, because we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
My youngest child is not 33. Me and her mother went through a really, really hard breakup, and then her mother moved to Grand Rapids, and we had joint custody. So unlike my other children, who 90% of the time I stayed their parent, I became her friend, or attempted to become her friend, because her mother, you know, I'm in recovery, I got no problem with that. Her mother was a practicing addict at the time, and she wasn't spending any time with her.
Mm-hmm.
And one time she got stabbed in the leg. It was Halloween, and she told me that this guy tried to get her, and she pulled a knife that she got, and he took it from her and stabbed her. The true story I found out years later was she stabbed herself because she was angry with her mother, and she knew that I would be her friend and not her parent, and she stabbed herself. So I've allowed that to happen because she used to go back and forth and go through all these changes. You know, her mother just wanted more money and stuff because she was getting a child support. And I became her friend, and even today, I am paying for that.
Yeah, because they got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
She got away with it. And that happens so much in the adult-child relationship. And that's why we call this chapter, We Teach Others How to Treat Us.
Mm-hmm.
And if your child teaches you, and they will, or you teach your child that you can go to bed without your supper because you were bad today, whatever it was, or you can only have to watch TV for a half an hour instead of 2 hours.
Right.
That's tonight. If you say, I'm going to do that for 4 days, and you do it for 2, you've taught them nothing.
Right.
Because you didn't stick to your word. You know, we use a phrase a lot when we're doing our family counseling. It's called firm, fair, and consistent.
Okay.
And if you stay firm in your discipline as a parent, you're fair in it, that it's age appropriate, and you're not picking on one child more than another, presuming you have more than one child in the family.
Right.
And you're consistent in your approach.
Mm-hmm.
So you're also consistent in your fairness and your firmness.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be fair, firm, or firm, fair, and consistent, depending on how you want to say it, you need to stay that way. Otherwise, you are teaching your child that what you say has no value.
I got a great example of that. My oldest daughter and my youngest daughter lived with me, basically. My oldest daughter technically was living with me after she was 13. And my youngest daughter, the one I was just talking about, I ruined partially, was coming every weekend. Because it was only supposed to be every other weekend, but her mom wanted to get rid of it, so I had every weekend. Well, my middle daughter came down, and she was just a butt. And she'd end up under punishment all the time. I mean, give me 2 weeks, you know, she'd talk back. And I remember one time, my older daughter told her, "You stupid." She said, "If Dad puts you under punishment, and you come in on time, and do what he asked you to do, and then sit down next to him when he's watching all them nature programs and ask him a whole bunch of questions, he'll tell you to leave him alone and go out. So you spend 4 weeks under punishment when it only had to be 4 days.
Yeah.
So you stupid." And that's what she told her.
Yeah.
So it was an inconsistency, and they really taught me that. My oldest daughter, when I heard her say that, I really thought, she said, "Dad will let you, you know," she said, "Dad tell you to come in at 11, come in at 10:55, and ask him if you could go back out. You might want to sit on the porch or go across the street." She said, "I used to stay out till 3 o'clock in the morning, because I keep coming home every half hour and say, 'Dad, I'm right across there. You can see me. I'm with my friends. Can I go?'"
Yeah.
Well, Mudgy come in a half hour late and tell me it ain't her fault.
Yeah.
So and her mother, she was her mother's baby, and her mother spoiled her like that. And with me, she was not my baby. So there was a lot of inconsistencies there. And
Well, when children figure it out,
yeah,
their life can be so much easier. And it's not hard for everybody.
Right.
Like you said, come home 5 minutes ahead of time, tell Dad I'm here,
Right.
and can I go back out and sit on the porch for another half an hour?
right.
I would have said yes,
Mm-hmm.
because you came home.
Right.
Then you come in every 15 minutes or 20 minutes or
right.
so, can I stay back out for another? That's fine. But to come home late
Right.
and then get no consequences.
Right. And give me an excuse.
And give me some excuse that, forgetting that I was a young person once,
Right.
and I had a lot of excuses. So we have to be careful about how we teach people how to treat us. And an example, and I think I quoted it last week as well, we talk about going on a date with a boy and a girl, whatever. Normally, in my era, the guy would pick the girl up at the house. That's what the fathers said. Have Johnny come to the house, knock on the door, come in and meet me. Don't sit out there and rev the engine and expect you to come out, because you ain't coming out. So I did that to my daughter, and there's a long story about that too. But when you go up to Sally's house to pick Sally up, at a time you both agreed to meet, and Sally's not ready, you have a couple of choices. One is, depends on how much you want Sally.
Right.
You wait for Sally to get ready, or you get in your car and drive away. Most guys that I know, in the beginning, will wait.
Right.
They'll wait for Sally, because I want to show Sally that I like her, and I want to say how important she is, so that I'll wait for her.
Right.
And she'll come down all prettied up, ready to go, maybe 15 minutes later, maybe half an hour later. Then you get in the car and you go away, and the date's on, and you have a good time, whatever it is. Or you can say to Sally, after you're driving away down the road and she's calling you up, where'd you go? Well, we agreed at 7 o'clock.
Right.
You weren't here, so I left. Now, two more things are going to happen. One is Sally's going to dump you for good, and you'll never see her again. Or she will be ready at 7 o'clock next time.
Right.
And it depends on how much you value your time, your own personality, on am I going to let people push me around? And it doesn't mean being mean and tough. It just means sticking to your word and holding other people accountable. So if Sally wants to date you again, and you say 7 o'clock, she'll be ready at 7 o'clock. And then you get in the car and you go away and have fun.
You know, I have a policy I read in a book years ago. It was a businessman who wrote the book, and he said how important his time was. He said if someone puts him on hold for more than 5 minutes, they don't feel that he's important or what he has to say is important, and he will hang up.
Yep.
Okay? And another thing, my brother drives me crazy. When his phone rings, if I'm on the phone talking to him, he gotta go over and see who it is. When you can see who it is by looking at the phone.
Yeah.
And my rule is, if I'm talking to my father, my sister, my brothers, I'm not, or unless it's my children calling, I'm gonna call whoever that is back. I'm not gonna interrupt my conversation with my family, because I feel that they more, if I'm talking to you, and unless it's Bill or one of my family members, I'm not gonna interrupt that call. I'm gonna continue to talk to you. But he'll cut me off 4 or 5 times. He'll come right back 4 or 5 minutes later. And I told him, I'm not waiting on you anymore.
Yeah.
He said, but man, we talk all the time. I said, that ain't the point.
Yeah.
I said, I explained to you, if it's you, Kim, Mama, Dad, I won't, unless it's one of y'all calling me while I'm talking to the other one, I do not answer the phone. I think you are more important to me than that, and that's why I didn't do it. So now, after explaining that to him, he doesn't do it now.
See, I don't do that either. I don't interrupt my calls with somebody to answer a call that's coming in.
Right.
I don't do that. And some people will say, well, I tried to call you. And I say, well, I was on the phone. Well, mine was important. And you know what? At that time, that person was important.
Right.
And we have to remember, we teach people how to treat us. And if we don't comprehend that situation, you will continually be frustrated by people who don't take you serious.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you got to scream, hump, jump up and shout and carry on and be silly about it. You have to value yourself. And if you allow people to teach you, to treat you with disrespect, lack of courtesy, lack of response, then that's how they're going to treat you. And you have to deal with it. Now, we got about 30 seconds left.
Okay.
So go ahead and finish up what you want to
I
finish
was
up.
going to say, I understand exactly what you're saying. We had this new member in the program that we're both in.
Right.
And he aggravates everybody. But they fail to listen to him, because he says, I'll aggravate you because he enjoys it.
Right.
So he'd go home in peace laughing, and he'd send him home all frustrated. And he's done it to about 6 people, and I watch it. And he done it once to me, and I immediately said, that's not how it works with me.
All right, well, we're going to come back here in just a little while and finish up with part 2.
Okay?
Anyway, thank you, Ernest. I'll talk to you later.
All right, be blessed.